Duh. Obviously, rocket jumps are useful. But instead of spending 25 minutes with Mario Kart soundtrack in the background and drawing out my words like this, I'll just get straight to the point. So instead of talking about why rocket jumping is a hidden masterclass in game design, I'll present to you various types of rocket jumps that I personally use, their applications, and that will be about it for today. So rocket jumps can be separated into 4 main categories, and I will go through each and every one of them in a manner that is quick and fast, yet providing enough information for you to go forward. Number 1. Rollout jumps. Rollout jumps are pretty simple. They are done on any map, and the point of them is to get as fast as possible to the battlefield. They obviously vary by each map. You kinda have to know each map before you do them to know health pack locations to reach your destination, preferably with high HP. Anything I say in this overview, by the way, is mostly only applicable to soldiers who prefer to play their game in the roamer style, that is gunboats and operating mainly independently from the rest of the team. That is just on the surface, but I will get into that in the next video. So, rollout jumps can be pretty cool, huh? Number 1. Offensive jumps. Now, offensive jumps are pretty straightforward. You jump to the enemy instead of away from them. The preferred tactic that I like to use is the 3-point attack jump, which I've simply made up, but it is pretty simple to do. Before you do that kind of jump, you need to have an idea where your targets actually are. To do this kind of offensive jump, launch 1 rocket under your feet, and while you're in the air, unload 2 in the air on the unsuspecting targets below. Land, and then use your remaining rocket to jump away. It is basically a foolproof design, only countered by pyros, sentries, or situations in which enemies might have a vague idea of you coming down raining weapons-grade uranium on their cranium. The other kind of offensive jump is what I like to call the show-off jump, or simply a presenting jump. It's when you jump to your end of the front line in front of your enemies, not with an intention to kill, but basically just show yourself as a target and to hold the line until your teammates either come to your location or start dealing damage to the enemies in front of you. It is pretty useful when your enemy is thinking of retreating, but your team is unable to provide sufficient motivation for the action. That's where you come in and lock down the area, presenting it as one that is still being controlled by your team. And the last type of offensive jump is the offensive chasing jump. Basically, propelling yourself towards one enemy, be it a damaged heavy, an escaping medic, or a cocky scout too busy to notice metric tons of TNT coming his way. As mentioned, it is good for chasing enemies down and finishing them, or just causing them to retreat, allowing your team to take positions faster without spending bullets or sacrificing their health. That concludes the offensive jumps. Number 3. Defensive jumps. Obviously, defensive jumps imply that you will be getting defensive, which is most likely retreating or whatever. The simplest type of the defensive jump is the situationally aware jump, where you could be fighting but you notice a shit ton of enemies or a dangerous enemy infringing on your position, which causes you to retreat with a rocket under your feet. This kind of behavior is also correlated to the turnaround, the kind of act of turning around while mid-air after seeing enemies on your preferred landing position. This jump greatly increases your survivability and allows you to be more effective as time goes on. Oops. That appears to be all in the defensive jump category. Number 4. Utility and transportation jumps. Basically, as the name implies, these kind of jumps you use to get to a higher ground, go to the backlines, avoid sniper sightlines, grab a health pack, grab an ammo box, grab a lunch box, get to your medic, etc. And that concludes the type of jumps that a soldier has in his arsenal.